We are live, yes?
Yes, we are
Here
live.
we are. All right, welcome everyone to the Magic Hour with Anna Stone. Here she is.
Hello.
And myself, Stephanie Siren. And tonight we are going to have a special guest on with us, and her name is Shannon Spring. We'll bring her on in a moment.
Right.
She is an animal psychic. Here she comes. We can bring her on right now. Okay, so our special guest today is Shannon Spring, and she is an animal psychic and medium. Correct, correct, Shannon?
Correct.
Okay.
Welcome, Shannon. Nice.
Thank you for having me here.
And this is also our Yule special, guys. We're here because we're celebrating Yule and the winter solstice. And so what a better way to do it. Hi, Lizzie.
Hi, Lizzie.
What a better way to do it than to talk about familiars and animals, because that's always such a heartwarming subject.
Right. Yes. So Shannon,
Yes.
hi, Blue Portal. Oh, why do you have to go on? Yeah, guys, and welcome everybody. Just really quick before we start, I just want to let you guys know that we are gonna, like after the new year, our things are gonna change a little bit for the show. We're gonna have like a more structured format. So I'm gonna be working on that on my 3 weeks off of work, which is really, really horrible for me. I'm very uncomfortable not having anything to do. So I'm like, what's the better time than to do this? So we're gonna be reformatting it a little bit, making sure that you guys know what to expect every time you tune in.
And we will be on every week.
Every week, like, rain or shine. Within reason, like unless I'm crazy.
Right. We will also, unless we're teaching retreats or classes, but definitely we will be on weekly, and we will have more subjects, and it is definitely going to be like The View, but for witches.
With cool people.
I don't want to be any of them.
Okay. Yeah.
So right now, if you're watching and you know somebody who would love to watch an animal psychic at work,
right,
please share this link right now and also like it, because we are going to be performing our usual at the end of the hour. We do our usual 20 minutes of psychic questions, but tonight it's a little bit more special because we have Shannon. So we'll have all of your animal psychic questions that she can answer.
Right.
So this is a super special episode here.
Yeah.
And we're super stoked. So Anna, what is a familiar?
Familiar, I mean, a lot of people, there's different takes on it. There's some people that say that it's, an animal that you're drawn to. It's like your totem animal, your spirit animal, right? And then other people say it's like an actual animal that you find, rescue, or somehow comes into your life that brings some kind of, obviously all animals are this way. They bring us happiness until they're not with us anymore anyway. This is why I don't have pets, but like the ones that really just resonate with you, and then they're like part of your like, I guess, your soul family, right? Like from wherever you come from. Definitely. So again, like in different cultures, there's different.
Yes.
Some of them are in the spirit world, some of them are in the dream world. Like some cultures have your connection with them would be in dreams rather than in the 3D. But I guess to everybody, it's just it's what pets are. Like some of them, that special pet you've had that just really no other pet could replace. I believe that's what most people think, but there's a lot of different interpretations of it out there. So it's whatever it is for you. You go ahead and stay with that. Like,
I already have an interesting question for Shannon.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So Shannon, have you experienced familiars in your work, and what do they mean to you? What have you seen?
Yeah, well, I love listening to Anna's answer there, because it's true. Animals can be our familiars, whether they're our own personal pet. Like I have one. I don't know if he's gonna be nice or naughty when I wake him up. This is Mayor Puppy Pants. And I always joke about I'm going to marry him, and we're going to be the first interspecies marriage here in Florida. Good luck with that.
Oh, well, it might happen then because you're in Florida.
Right? I should. Then I'll be like the Florida woman. It'll be a whole new thing.
Oh, Florida woman.
Florida woman marries her dog. I like it. Yes.
It's coming. But as Anna was talking about how they could be in the spirit world or just an animal that crosses our path one time, you know, one of the first times I did hypnosis, I had a major life transforming experience with a dragon. You know, we could have a whole other discussion whether dragons are real or not, but it certainly was telepathically. It helped me a lot, came to protect me and escort me to another phase of my life, as did a tiger. Tiger is one of my main spirit animals. And I have a photograph here of, we'll talk about this tiger later, my very first tiger reading. She is now in spirit, but woo, brother, she changed my life in many ways. And some dude I was dating, so remind me to tell you the tiger story. But familiars can be your own personal pets. They can be an animal that crosses our path, you know, a cardinal, an eagle. When I was waiting for news on whether or not I was going to get to purchase my house, if the funding was going to come through, I said, please, please give me a sign, give me a sign. And sometimes we say this, right? Like nothing happens, or it happens in 6 months, or when we're taking our last breath. But this time a bald eagle, the endangered eagle, came and sat by my living room window and looked at me from the window right where I'm sitting now on my couch. So familiars, I think it's really can be any animal that takes a liking to us because they like who we are, and we're probably doing the right thing by animals, at least.
So Shannon, would you say, so I've had a couple weird encounters with animals recently, actually. But like as a child, it was always crows. Like crows always would follow me to and from school. They lived out in front of my house, like on the telephone pole out in front of my front yard. And then they would fly. I thought, I was like, are they following me? Like I'd walk to school and they'd follow me, and then they'd come back home. And, you know, and I've always loved crows, okay? But recently I had an encounter with a coyote, but I swear to God, it looked like a giant wolf. Like, and it was really creepy because it was like 3 a.m, of course, because I'm always out late doing weird shit. And it was like, I'm not joking. I was at a crossroads. It was like it was at a stop sign that had like, you could go 3 way, you know, the way I'd come from, or right or left. And it was standing smack in the middle of the intersection, and it was foggy. Like, and it was just, and it was like, it was out of a movie. Like, it was so crazy. And it just stared at me, and it was this gray giant coyote, but it literally looked like a wolf. And I was like, I'd never seen one up close, like ever before. And I was like, ooh, and I started talking to it. Like, no one's around. And I like roll my window down like a weirdo. And I'm like, hey, what's up, guy? Like, what are you doing? And it just looked at me, and I just swear to God, I felt like it was trying to tell me something. I know it sounds crazy, but like it did. And then as I drove off, it freaking like watched me drive away. And then the next day, this is like in Burbank. The next day I'm at my house, which is not in Burbank. And I'm coming home, and there's a gray coyote in my driveway. And I was like, I was like, what the, oh my God, is that the same freaking coyote? Of course, I have no way of knowing that that's the case, but it followed me up. Like as I drove, it was walking behind me, and I was like, this might be dangerous.
It probably wanted to mate with you.
But like, I mean, that's and then I have an owl that has decided to live outside my window, and it just is out there all the time. And it showed up about 6 months after I moved in here. And so I'm just like, the owls, coyotes, and crows have always just been around. Like, is that just something that is an affinity towards them, or is it something? It could be something else, like a familiar.
So, I mean, it's very cool, and pay attention to any animal that crosses your path, however small, however big, however out of the ordinary, especially. And it's not just the animal that crosses our path, but also like the time of day, the direction, what they're doing. Like, for example, when the eagle came up and looked at me that day, then I went in my backyard. He flew diagonally over me, and I went, huh. I wonder what it means. And I wondered aloud, I wonder what it means if the eagle had flown straight over me instead of diagonal. Would that mean that my situation has been straightened out? Oh. 5 minutes later, the eagle turns around and flies straight over me. So in your case, I mean, I'm joking about it, but I will tell you what, from the way that you're describing it, and boy, you know, nothing sounds crazy to me, but I have a feeling that a lot of the things I say are going to sound crazy to others.
We're okay. So we're all crazy here. It's fine.
We're all crazy.
Like, you know, for example, the coyote that you're talking about obviously took a liking to you, can certainly pick up on the fact that your energy is very different than a lot of other people that he's encountering. And so that intrigues an animal. You know, they see people crossing their path all the time. Animals are watching us even when we don't know we're being watched. Oh, yeah. So
yeah.
they notice,
I
like the
love
Sesame
them.
Street game, which one of these things is not like the others. So
Okay.
they take a liking to you. They're probably protecting you. As I'm talking about this now, I hear that they're looking out for, you know, your youngest daughter. I don't know if you say her name on here, but that they look out for her.
Yeah.
And I would ask them any questions that you want. You know, all of us have the ability to communicate with animals, with nature, with spirits. It's just really like have fun with animals. Animals are all about people that don't take themselves too seriously and who looks fun to play with. You know, who's
Yeah.
gonna be fun? It's like you're thinking about inviting a party and you're like, I'm not going to invite. Well, you guys know I'm not inviting any of my neighbors.
Yeah.
So, like, who do I think is going to be fun for a game night? You know, for a yeah, exactly, for a holiday party, whatever it is.
And
What's
I'm not that fun at parties. I'm like, I'm not.
okay to answer this question that just
I'm
popped
the
up?
more
Yeah,
aggressive
please. Yes.
one.
So we have a
Yeah.
question from Lizzie. Yeah.
But in terms of back on your coyote, I will say this. I do think in a funny way that animals can tune into all types of our energy, who we are as a person, our likes and dislikes. I think this coyote took a liking to you on multiple levels. I joke about him wanting to mate with you, but I was one time in a forest with a bunch of wild bears. I did have permission to be there, but I will tell you what, you guys, I turned around and there was like a 700-pound black bear behind me. And when I looked at him, this bear looked me smack in the eyes the same way that I have been looked at by many men in bars, that I was like, I recognize that look. And like, this ain't happening. And I had to like delicately get out of the way. It was a different, I looked at all of the bears in different ways and they looked at me in different ways. And this one bear looked at me and I'm like, I felt like I was hearing the bounce, chicka bounce.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, the coyote was like there right when I was trying to leave my ex. I was trying to get out of a marriage, and I was like, I left the house, and I was really having a bad day.
Yeah.
I needed out. I needed fresh air and breathe. And I was like, what am I gonna do? That was what I was thinking the whole way. Like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna fucking do? And then he showed up in this, and it was like in a crossroads. So like, I looked it up, just like you said.
Yeah.
I looked up, what does it mean if you see a coyote in a crossroads? You know, in the foggy night. And it was like basically saying that you need to take the path that you know, like you need to go on a different path than where you're at right now. So it's exactly what I did. And I was like,
confirming that you had other options besides the one that was right in front of you. You had many different options.
Right. Yeah.
So with Lizzie, I love the question. And
I also have an answer after you do too.
okay, cool. So I've spoken with, at this point, like thousands of animals of all species, mostly dogs and cats, but also horses and rabbits and variety of everybody and people. And just like people are up to something different in their human lives and in the afterlife, it's the same with animals. So it's not like I get a universal sign from animals that they're all at like the dog club or the cat club, or even the Rainbow Bridge. Like all of us here, like they're waiting for us at the Rainbow Bridge. It's a beautiful thing to imagine and to visualize. However, I hope it comforts a lot of people to say they're not waiting for us. They will greet us, but they are very much continuing, loving, and enjoying their lives as a spirit. They're watching over us. They're with us. I got a great answer to that, Lizzie, the other day, though. One of my clients, he asked this question that I'm surprised I don't get asked more often. And he said, Shannon, can you tell me what Max is up to now? I love this question. So I asked the dog, because I always want to get it in the animal's words rather than me, Shannon, answering. So I was like, hey, Max, you know, like, what are you up to today? What's a typical day for Max the dog, like in spirit? And Max showed me my Snoopy diary from when I was like 9 years old. So then I have to ask, why is he showing me this? And I looked at like the stuff I used to write about in there, and it was my camp diary. So I used to write about all the activities that I did at camp. So Max's answer for himself was that it is just like summer camp. And he showed me like the cartoons we see of Snoopy with all the little mini Woodstocks behind him. And Snoopy's got like the knapsack and they're going camping and backpacking. He said, we have nap time, we have snack time, we have play time, we have swim time, we have like arts and crafts time. You know, it really is the idea of sending our animals off to summer camp. And I am it's not going to sound like it, as I've just talked about, you know, considering mating with a bear in the forest. It's not going to sound like I'm a very practical, grounded person, but I am. I do have a skeptical side. I do have a very practical side. And we can think that it sounds too good to be true, right? Skeptics always want to rain on that parade and say, yeah, you could say that about every animal. That's like camp, or it's like this. And I'm like, look, man, this isn't stuff that I'm making up. It's stuff that the animals are showing me that I'm actually feeling in my body. I have helped many animals not just communicate with their people once they've transitioned, but as they're transitioning, sometimes people will call me the day of a euthanasia or the day before and ask me to help in the process. I helped a horse transition recently. And the moment that horse was leaving her body, I literally felt the need to go doing like zoomies around my house and race because she had been in a debilitating body with spaghetti legs, it was called. And as she's leaving her body, like the awareness, the happy shock of bam, I'm free. I am free. I'm free running around. So what is that horse doing? Is she at summer camp like Max? I'd have to ask her. But because I'm never going to give a universal answer for this, I will tell you that our animals do a lot of the things that they enjoy doing here, and they learn a few new tricks, just like people. Like I talked with a man in spirit and he said, tell my daughter that I'm golfing. She'll think it's hilarious. Tell her I'm golfing. She'll think it's hilarious. I said, your dad keeps telling me to tell you he's golfing. And she goes, he hated golf when he was here. He used to make fun of golfers. Well, now he's learning some new tricks and our animals do too. So I hope that answers your question, Lizzie.
Oh, that's great. That is so thorough. Thank you. So my little 2 cents is that I don't always receive animals in my readings.
Yeah.
But I did last year. And it was so funny because I was going to ask you, do you feel them? Like I felt this animal's actual fur brush my leg.
Wow.
The dog, she was a Bichon Frise. I saw her, she brushed my leg. She was with her owner, who had been her owner in life, and they were reunited in death. And it was my only encounter with animal spirit.
Yeah.
But it was really neat. And ever since then, I can confidently say that animals come up to me a lot more now.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can see them. Sometimes they'll tell me a lot of the times the signs that they will send their people or that they have sent their people. And they'll say, tell them that it really is me. They're seeing out of the corner of my eye. Tell them that it really is me still walking on their body the way that I used to. You know, one cat kept talking about being draped around the person's neck still. Now, not all cats do that. A lot of cats do that. Some don't.
I don't.
Another cat recently said, you know, the MGM lion at the end of the movies, I don't know if they still do it. Okay, they have that one mighty male lion that just goes like the mightiest, you know, sexiest, dare I say, roar. And this cat was like, you have to tell mom and just give her one loud roar and tell mom that I am hanging out with the lions and the tigers, like the big cats. I'm not spending time with the house cats. I don't have time for that. And I said, your cat really wants me to tell you that he has given one loud roar like the MGM lion. And her mom burst into tears. And she said, Shannon, I am so happy to hear that. I worried about him his whole life because he never meowed.
Oh, that's cute. I have a question, Shannon.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to know. Okay, let's just start. I want to start at the beginning. How did you find out that you had this ability? Like, what was?
Yeah. Well, I love somebody's posted up here about wolves. So we'll I love all the questions, and I will go on forever. Like if you guys would have me for a 24-hour sleepover, I will keep telling stories because there's so many of them to talk. So when
we're actually planning a witchy sleepover in later 2024 that we'll be announcing later on, and it's going to be like a slumber party.
I love it. I love it. I was always the kid that never let anybody else sleep. I'm like, you sleeping? You sleeping? Yeah. And
I'm like, what's wrong with you guys?
God bless them. So I was talking to animals as a kid and I would see spirits, but everybody really dismissed it as my imagination. And I went to Catholic school. I don't identify as that anymore. But when my first dog, Teddy, died, I went to the school priest and the school priest told me, dogs don't go to heaven, Shannon. And I was every bit as outspoken back then as I am now. And I was like, yeah, they do. And I said, and you should not tell a 10-year-old girl that her dog doesn't go to heaven.
Right.
Good for you.
Yeah, man. And I kind of really shook him up because he was just telling me like what he knew to be true. But, you know, even as kids, or maybe even especially as kids, we know when someone is speaking truth to us. Just like when we hear something now and we're like, we feel it, before it can even go through our mental filter, it kicks in our body, like the body keeps the score, that whole idea.
Oh,
And I'm like, that
Great
ain't
book.
true, man. You know, no disrespect, but you're wrong. So I
Right.
did see my dog's spirit leave the body. And then it is a wild story. It is in my book, which is coming out in March, open mic for animals,
Yay.
evidential fairy tales. But 38 years after my first dog, Teddy, passed, I was sitting in a mediumship circle with people that I do not know, that did not know me. And this medium says to me, Shannon, there's a priest here who wants to apologize to you. And he says dogs do go to heaven, and he's really sorry for what he told you.
Wow. That's crazy.
You can't make that up.
No,
You know what
that's
I mean?
not.
This
That's
is why I
awesome.
say that I eat skeptics for protein. Bother me. You know what I mean? They're just missing out on the party.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah. Or yeah. But I let them have their ignorance.
Oh, have their own party, you know?
That's right over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Snacks are bad there.
but you know, there's a limit. Like, you know, some things are just like, come on, guys, get a grip.
Like,
Like,
I think it's pretty arrogant not to believe that animals talk and live on. It's so human centric. Like, oh, we're so important that we're the only ones who get to live on.
I fight with someone about this recently. Remember Stephanie? Like, this guy was dating. He tried to tell me, oh my God, it's so stupid. He's like, he was telling me about like animals talking. I was like, yeah, no, scientists don't believe that they talk. And I'm like, which is ridiculous, because of course they talk. Just because we can't understand it doesn't mean that it's not happening. And he's like, that's not what scientists think. I'm like, yes, it is. Like, they don't believe it. Like, and he argues with me and got in this big fight with me about it. And I was like, look, I'm not saying, I absolutely think they talk. Of course they do. Like, I mean, they communicate. Like,
They communicate.
they absolutely do. Like, we had monkeys in the lab I used to work at, right? And like, they knew if we were wearing a lab coat, they would throw literally shit at us.
Yeah.
And if I'd walk by my street clothes, they were fine. Those animals hadn't been tested on for 4 generations out. How did they know to be scared of the people in the white coats? Like, because it was communicated to them, like, duh, you know? It's ridiculous. Humans are arrogant like this. We think
Animals know everything. And honestly, I think if people knew how much, it's the good news and the bad news. If you're doing right by animals and you got nothing to hide, you have no problem with what they're going to say about you, or, you know, what you're going to learn about them. If you're not being so good to animals, the bad news is they do know everything. I've had animals tell me that their people are pregnant. I've had animals tell me about domestic violence, you know, the husband's in the background. Oh yeah, I had a dog. I have a very specific rule with my client that says be in a private space, and it may only be the client present for the session unless pre-approved by me otherwise. And this lady was sitting in her kitchen. The husband's like kind of put her around in the background. I'm like, well, that's going to be a problem. And one of her dogs shows me himself dressed up in one of those old fashioned night costumes, like the full armor. And he does the flipping the mask. This is telepathic, by the way, in case I didn't say that. It's not literally happening. He's not throwing on costumes from the toy box, you know, but not that they couldn't, but he's flipping up the mask and he goes, danger, danger. And I said, where's the danger? And the dog goes, check the husband. So she had earbuds in, and I, you know, pretended like we had a bad connection. I said, hey, can you get to another room? You know, I can't really hear you that well. So she leaves the room, and I said to her, and, you know, I'll change the names. And I was like, you know, hey, Laura, can you tell me why your dogs are concerned for your safety? So I'm easing into it instead of, you know, is your husband kicking the out of you? Right. I want to be delicate and gentle with people, but I'm also going to come straight at it, because these are not my messages to censor. There's some animal communicators out there, man, you know, they don't want to go for it. They're worried that people are going to get mad at them. I'm very willing to be disliked. I prefer to be liked, but I have a very specific job to do, and it is not to censor the messages of the spirits or the animals.
That's
you know, when I was in my channel coaching classes, like I took a few of them. And the thing is that we were taught that you do not deny your channel, no matter what it is, because that's the truth is the truth is the truth, no matter how you slice it. So if you try to stop it and decipher truth from fiction, you know, then you're going to cause more of a problem for yourself. Right. So you just have to be evidential and be honest and truthful about what you're receiving.
What if I had changed that and said, like, you know, hey, Laura, you know, your dog is saying, like, maybe you should take a self-defense class or something.
That could have been taken all kinds of different ways.
You cannot mess with that. In fact, I had a cat thank me one time. The cat was at the vet. Animals get very chilly at the vet, people. So, I'd love to hopefully give some tips as I'm talking. And one of them would be, please, for the love of God, if your animal's going to be at the vet for a little while, ask them to put a blanket in with them. Sometimes they do, but ask to see a picture of it. Ask them to bring in a second blanket. You cannot do enough due diligence when you're being the voice of your animals and you are literally checking that people are going to say what they're doing, they're going to do. And there was a cat that said, it's fucking freezing in here, Shannon. So I said the message to the person, I said, your cat says she needs a blanket and it's fucking freezing. And the cat thanked me in my ear and goes, thank you for not saying it's a bit chilly in here. And thank you for living exactly as I said, because, hey, man, it's the same thing for people in the hospital. If I say, oh, I'm a bit chilly, the nurse might not bring me a blanket for another 4 hours when she gets around to it. But if I say, I am shivering and I am about to die, that's going to light a fire under their butt to bring the blanket to the animal now.
Right. I think you have to be honest like that, because if you're not and you just reinterpret the message, then why would they keep channeling through you? Why would they use you anymore if you're not going to get the message out properly?
And I do have people get, for the most part, I have a lot of repeat business. For the most part, people like me, but pet food tends to be one of the more controversial things, because people will say, well, I'm feeding him the best quality. I had this conversation yesterday with somebody. They were giving the dog beef, and the dog was like, I don't have a problem with beef. I have a problem with the supplier of this beef. My readings get freakishly specific. And the woman in response said, oh, I know the woman that raises these cattle, and she tells me about her process, and the dog is going. And I'm like, I don't care if this cattle supplier is Mother Teresa come back from the dead. It's not working for your dog. You need to switch the food. So it's all bets are off when we're talking to the animals. We need to be completely willing to look at ourselves and don't take it personally. I'm an animal communicator. It doesn't mean I'm a perfect pet mom. One of my dogs still chases cars. And I tell him that I was like, I think I have told him too many times that he's invincible and he's never going to die. So he's like, thinks he's Superman. He's trying to.
We got a good question here. Liz is just on fire tonight, asking good ones.
Yes,
okay.
Lizzie.
Thank you.
Yes,
guys, and also, questions. This is a different format than normal. Like, we are actually taking questions right now. Like,
oh, perfect. Yes.
Yeah. So just if you have questions about pets or someone,
interview questions.
About pet psychic stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Not about other stuff. Okay. But and share it if you know someone that is a pet animal lover, lost a pet, whatever. In a few minutes we're going to be opening up for psychic reading. So
nice.
Y'all want to get in line if that's the case. So can you answer this question though right now?
Yeah. Oh, yes, Lizzie, love that question. Absolutely. Sometimes somebody hires me to do a reading for their deceased mom, husband, child, whatever, and an animal comes through. Sometimes I do a pet reading and they bring the person through, but man, the animals and their people, they are still together. And to tag on to that, Lizzie, it might seem silly that when animals are out of body, that they still get walked in spirit, but they do. If it's something that they really enjoy doing with their people. I saw a man, it was a very older man, and his daughter has lost many dogs, or, they've passed on, I should say. Right. And he'll walk the dogs and he shows them being walked. He walks them around the lake. He gives them a treat. He sits on what the dogs call the Barker Lounger instead of like the Barker Lounger, and he gives them treats. Now, again, all of this can sound real sweet and like it's being made up. But the cool part, Lizzie, is that the other parts of the readings leading up to what I'm sharing that I can't exactly prove are evidence of the pet's time with their person that they can prove. In fact, this exact man that I'm talking about, this older man who greets all of his daughter's dogs as they pass, one of her dogs, and I'll change the name, Sammy was like, message Tracy right now, Shannon, and tell Tracy that I'm eating popcorn. This is the dog, and I'm eating it like this. So I was like, okay. So I messaged my friend and I said, your dog, Sammy, is saying right at this moment, I have to tell you, she's eating popcorn and she's chewing it like a cow. My friend messages me right back and she says, oh my God, Shannon. She said, I am sitting here with a giant bowl of popcorn on me right now. And it always gets better. Sammy is the only one of my 12 dogs I ever let eat popcorn. And she used to eat it so loudly that all the other dogs would come running because they're jealous. So
That's so cute.
because I deliver so much evidence where the people can say, yes, that happened. Yes, we do that. Yes, I'm doing this literally right now. Then the stuff that's more like, hey, your dog's at camp, or hey, your dad's walking your dog around the lake, then maybe the dog says, and tell her it's a purple leash. Ah, she had a purple leash. So, it really is entering into the best party ever, talking to animals in the afterlife with their people.
Right. So, Stephanie, can you elaborate on this one, please?
Oh, my mom had a healer named Ozzy. We found out my mom had cancer, and she was gone in 30 days. I always promised to take him. At that time, I couldn't, so I gave him to an amazing home. He passed. I think that's and I feel so guilty. Okay, so this is actually my adopted mom.
Right. Sorry, Lori, I didn't think this was a question. I wasn't sure.
So she wanted to know if there was any way yet Ozzy was coming through from the spirit world since she's here chatting with us.
Yeah. Okay. So the person's name is Lori, and then she had an Aussie. What's the dog's name?
The dog's name was Ozzy.
The dog's name was Ozzy.
Yeah, he was a healer.
Okay. And so her mom passed of cancer. I always promised to take him. Does she mean to see her mom?
She was supposed to have him as a dog, and she didn't. She gave it to somebody else.
Yeah, and then he passed right afterwards. So she's feeling guilty about that, like she should have taken him.
Because her mom died. It was her mom's dog.
Know that he's okay.
Oh, it was her mom's dog. She was supposed to get the dog.
Uh-huh.
Mom passed, and then the dog went to somebody else.
And then the dog passed. Yeah.
And then the dog passed. All right, let me see what I hear. They do say a lot of funny things. So if you see me laugh, please don't be offended. It's funny because she's tagging on she or he, I don't know, but the animals don't really care about gender. I feel like they're tagging on to the popcorn about just like the snacks here are the best. But the guilt, I would really like to get a little more information about this because this is an afterlife thing. But I will say, was going to pass anyway. It had nothing to do with the location or the person. And I'm seeing a clock as I say that. And I actually see the hands on the clock, like the dog's time was very, very limited. It literally had nothing to do with the situation of the person. And the dog is actually, Ozzy is tagging on to what Anna said about being at a crossroads, and is really tagging on to the image that she described of like the coyote being at the crossroads. This dog was just simply not meant to live a longer life. You couldn't have anything less to feel guilty about. As they are funny, man, they're really funny. And as I say this, I start seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I am not an Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, but he's doing the Terminator, like the I'll be back. So I do feel like this dog is coming back to you, will come back as a dog that is large and in charge. And I do get a strong feeling in my throat with a mighty bark. The dog will have a mighty bark, a large and in charge presence, wants to continue the fairy tale, continue the love story that couldn't have to be continued at this time. And oof, geez, I feel this in my throat very strongly. This dog did not want to cause you a double grief by living with you and having that dog die on your watch. He said you kind of would have lost your mind grieving, going, oh my God, what did I do to kill the dog? That you're so sensitive and you're so hard on yourself. You had enough to deal with your mom's passing. He said, let me get out of the way and let me pass with somebody else who's better equipped to handle my passing at this time. I think this dog is coming back to you. I am hearing a number, but I don't like to really give that out loud. It will be unmistakable, and there will be signs from your mom around this dog that you will know your mom has an affinity for this dog coming back. I'm doing this with my hands because it's real close. It's real close. You're going to feel your mom's love energy. And I do feel humor around this dog's presence. You're going to almost kind of feel like you're with your mom a little bit when you're with this new dog that comes in, but you have rest easy because you have nothing to feel guilty for. Not even close. Animals are very smart about when they pass. They don't always have a choice about I know a dog that was hit and killed instantly by the DoorDash driver. And, you know,
Wow.
that was one of the few animals that I spoke with that was kind of in shock, but they do have some choices like we do as people too, with our souls. No, you know, you were in so much grief, your mom as well, your doggy as well, and a very large presence both of them have to do. And I do get a lot of laughter. I don't know if your mom had like a particularly like fun or infectious laugh, but I'm just like hearing the sound of laughter in my head of like, tell her we're having a good time, we're having fun, we're having fun. So I hope that brings some comfort, but I'm not getting sadness around this. As sad of a story as it is, I'm not getting any sadness from them.
That must be so, like, that makes sense 100%. Like, I didn't even think of that. Like, you know, I mean, that would never cross my mind. So Lori, I hope that helps and makes that, you know, I'm sure that it does, because yeah, like it would have been horrible for the double whammy of both mom and then her pet. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot,
Right.
you know?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So,
It's
we have like, do you want to start readings in like 5 minutes, or we can do it whenever?
Yeah, let's start reading. Everyone, we are open to questions in the chat, psychic questions about your animals or yourselves. And also, I have a familiar, Shannon. I have a familiar. Her name is Whitney. She is a healer and she's asleep on the floor.
Surprisingly, she's not squeaking toys during our live.
Right. She usually likes to squeak toys when we're on, but today she's gotten 2 walks, so she's exhausted.
That's awesome. Well, I tell people, you know, most of my readings are by photograph. I don't actually meet most of the animals, and some of them are wildlife and they could eat me for lunch, you know, or try to mate with me. So most of my readings are done by photo, any species, any challenge, anywhere. And I do tell people, like I told Stephanie earlier, that your pets don't have to be awake. They don't have to be present for the session. They can be eating, sleeping, in the bathtub, or out at a nightclub. The process is all the same. And it's the same process of talking with an animal here as it is with talking in spirit. It's an energetic connection, and it's a heart-centered intention. That's how quickly I access them. I joke that I'm like a lactating mother, which I have not been through. So, but as soon as I know of an animal in need, it's like the connection starts happening and I start connecting with them. So what would you like to ask about Whitney?
Sure. I'd love to know what Whitney would like me to know, really, because we communicate without words for sure. I mean, we do have certain word commands, but she came to me at a time when I really needed companionship, like unconditional love. And she needed it too. So I know that we needed each other. But I just want to know if she's happy. I think she is. And you know, just what does she want me to know?
So she definitely says that she's given me the Whitney Houston song, The Greatest Love of All, between the two of you, and that you have come a long way in your self-love and your healing. And I mean, please don't ask me to sing it. I do love to sing.
I was just gonna say, Stephanie, I'll send it to you in a voice memo like I did earlier today. The other song.
You sent her that song in a voice memo?
Another song.
No. We were making jokes about Christopher Cross songs because of that video I sent you guys. And Hannah knew them. Hannah knew the songs.
And I sang it. I literally sang it and sent it.
Well, and I will back this up. Like animals, the way that we can connect with them is they don't speak English or Spanish or French or German. Animals communicate in sounds, words, pictures, smells, but they will send us a lot of images, a lot of pictures. So as Stephanie was talking, Whitney is sending me pictures, and she would love nothing more than for you to dance like a wild person around your living room, like free and belly dancing. Like she would love for you to, and she's saying, girl, show your belly because you have a nice belly. And she's like, show your belly. And that you could even like be teaching, like on like a TikTok, you could do like a belly dance, like 30-second belly dance, and people will follow you. And she does say, but you'll get a lot of creepers if you do that, because the men will develop a crush on you and some of the women, you know, but that it would be great fun for you, and that it would be very, very healing for your spirit. The more you're already very free spirited and very like out there, but she says there is still so much of a deep well to tap into within you of you're going to be pleasantly surprised how much more free you can be. Like before the cameras went on, we were joking about, I asked if I could flash people. I can't. The answer was no. So sorry.
It was me. I said no. It was me.
Sorry,
I'm the bad guy.
guys, we get
But it's
censored.
like one of those
We
weird
were-
things, you know, like, so I teach humor workshops also. And sometimes I'm like, you know, man, when in doubt, just flash somebody because it's so inappropriate. It's so funny. It's so spontaneous. It's so unexpected. You know, don't do it to a police officer unless maybe that's going to get you out of
Unless
the
you're me at Mardi Gras, you
Unless you're-
know.
Or in San Diego on a
married to one or sleeping with
whatever
one.
the back of that thing was that we were doing. Like, and then you flashed
Oh, that's
me.
right. I ruined your TikTok. Yes.
No,
yes.
I edited it out, but it was like so close, so close. It was.
I would
great.
say Whitney is extremely happy, but she is excited for you to literally, I see like a very, very deep well. And the good news is, Stephanie, the well is very like well stocked. It's a very, very full well. It is not an empty well that you're operating from. Like the well is filled to the top with water. It's very fresh water. It's very clean water. As I say this, Whitney's like drinking from the water, putting her paw in the water, like sharing the water with you. The two of you are not only a very healthy partnership, but you're very healthy yourselves, like as individuals. She wants to thank you. And she says, hold on a second. Thank you for not over medicating me. Like you did a very good job of, number one, like truly, truly doing energetic, loving healing with her. And I kind of see like prescription bottles being like, you're like, I can help her better. I can heal her better. And definitely more of like the natural route, but honest to God. And she's flashing to what I said about Puppy Pants laying over me when I came out of the hospital, how he was better than the doctors. She is saying that you were the best doctor healer for her. And that, and she immediately flashes to Samantha from Bewitched from the show, that she thinks of you like that you are her Samantha and she's your Tabitha. And she would very much, which is the daughter. Shame they didn't have a dog on that show, right? I don't even know.
She had a daughter. I think she had a cat.
I was trying to figure that I couldn't see the cat, but yeah, the daughter was Tabitha. So she does call herself your Tabitha. She would very much like to learn more words. She says she would like to grow her vocabulary because you mentioned that she knows a lot of words. She says, teach me more words, but make them fun words and make them funny words. And that this will be something you kind of do like in private and secret with her so that then you can surprise your boyfriend. I almost just called him your fiance. So I don't know where that was coming from, but
This is too fast. You need to calm down.
the animals operate at warp speed. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no, she caught on to something he had said. He needs to calm down.
You need to, Chris, chill.
he needs to come. He needs Taylor Swift to sing him. You need to calm down. And
It's cute. It's really cute. They're cute.
He's
It's
delighted
very
with you.
It's very cute. It's what happens when you fall in love with a healer. You know.
Teach her some funny
Oh,
words.
I was like, girl, what did you say? Okay. Like,
In fact, as I say this, she's showing me the book by the comedian Judy Carter. It's called The Comedy Bible. Teach her some funny words, not just like the sit, stay, come, you know, eat, pray, love, whatever. Like, you know, you'll know the right words to teach her.
Yeah, like she and I have really worked on because she's not a fan of the leash, so we jokingly leave the leash on, but she heals just fine, and she's so happy walking around without it.
Yeah.
Like she knows to be with me, and we love each other so much. Like we do belly to belly. And we just, like I told her, I'm like, I love you so much. Like she knows. And like I have done Reiki on her and continue to do so.
That's awesome.
I do animal Reiki. I've had friends bring their animals to me that are, say, constipated or in pain.
That's
Whatever.
huge. There are so many things, like when people come to me for medical reads on their pets, and I'm not a veterinarian, I'm not a doctor, but it's information that comes through me. And it is most often the slightest thing somebody needs to change to get their animal healthy again, whether it's the food, change the vet, change a medication. I had a dog all the way over in India, and the woman's like, I don't know what's going on. Da, 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 da. And the dog immediately said, the medication they're giving me is expired. And I said to the woman, your dog is telling me the medication's expired. Now I know what I hear, and I know when it's right, because the animals will show it to me 2 or 3 times if it's a medical thing, so that I don't hurt them, you know what I mean, by whatever it is, I pass it on. And I said, the dog is saying the medication's prescribed. And the woman says, oh yeah, it's totally expired. I get it at a discount because the veterinarian sells this expired medication.
Oh, geez.
That's awful.
I mean,
either
like,
the potency gets higher at the expiration date or lower, but like it's probably higher in that
Depends,
case.
yeah.
so it's stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions lined up here. So like we got yes, we only
If
have
they
like
can tell us what's happening in their body. I will
Yeah.
often feel what's happening in an animal's body that they then can tell me that they're really itching, where they're itching, what's going to help. They'll tell me their people's medical illnesses, or they'll say, I have what mom has. I'll get to this question. I had a dog. A woman came to me and she said, can you tell me what's wrong with my dog? All I see is the dog on the Zoom in the background. And the dog says limbs and lymph nodes, limbs and lymph nodes. And the woman says, no, we just got back from the vet. He has a massive tumor on his adrenals. So I'm like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like my pet psychic reputation, what's happening here? And I said to the dog, what's going on? Why didn't you tell me about the tumor on the adrenals? And that this is telepathic. And the dog goes, because that's going to go away, Shannon. He said, I have throat cancer. They need to get me back to the vet immediately. And I said to my client, without like dead serious, man, you could operate on me without anesthesia. I was this confident in this answer. And I said, your dog is saying the adrenal tumor is going to go away. Get him to the vet. He's got throat cancer. She took him back. They saved his life. And the vet's like, how did you know your dog had throat cancer? To her credit, she said she heard it from an animal communicator. I just helped that dog transition a few weeks ago. So
beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you, Shannon, for reading Whitney for me. I
Yeah.
appreciate
Oh,
it. She's my greatest love.
Yeah. And Lori said spot on, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so Lizzie's question. And then we have one from Learning to Live, and then Angie also. And then Manina, I don't know if that's the right way to say your name, but you have a question that's not related to pet stuff. So I will answer that, but you need to give me some more information in the chat. While they're doing that, let me know, are you single right now or are you in a relationship? I just need to know that detail.
Well, and if she has a pet, I can answer her relationship or dating or love question from her pet's perspective.
Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't gotten that information. So do that in the chat, but go ahead and get Lizzie's question. And I'll
have a lot to say about who we date, or who we allow into our
pets,
beds or hearts or whatever. I have to tell you the tiger story before we finish, because she had a lot to say about some guy dated. So Lizzie, I would say it's a lot easier for the purposes of tonight to read like people's direct pets as opposed to getting like a random wolf that came by your window. But let me see what I get. After your brother passed, I don't know what your brother's name is. After your brother passed, I took a picture of his house window and there was a wolf in it. Like there was the spirit, an image of a wolf on the window at your brother's house after he passed. I don't know. I think that's what you're saying. I mean, wolf symbolism is the great protector. Wolves are like the, nobody's going to mess with this person, with this house. I got you. I see you. They are like that. I'm hearing like the night crawlers. They're the ones with like the extra night vision and the, I would definitely think it's a message from your brother, but I would want to know, to properly answer this question, I'd want to know a little bit more about it to get you like a true.
Said, yeah, it was spirit. No one was in the house. Like the house was empty. No one was in the house. So there was obviously a spirit wolf projection, in the window.
As soon as Anna just said that, I'm actually going to recommend a book to you because it's coming through very clearly. And it is about a man. The book is called Wolf's Message. The author is Suzanne Giesman. And I'm not saying this is related to your brother at all, but I am saying that this book is coming through very clearly for you to check it out. The book is about a man. His nickname was Wolf. He suffered from some mental illness, and he was brilliant. He was very, very misunderstood. A kindest man, brilliant man. And this book is a game changer in terms of getting messages and signs from spirit. So I think that the message that I'm supposed to deliver to you based on your question is check out this book. That there will be messages within messages for you in this book. So yeah.
Okay.
And obviously be thrilled, because that's one powerful thing that happened for you. So, and the more you notice those and give gratitude, the more they happen.
Right. Here's this one. And then Manina does have dogs and cats. But so I'm working on that right now. And I think that would be
cool. The lady about the dating question. Okay, cool. My dog Tyrian is getting older, and she is
it's pronounced Siren.
Theron.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a Celtic name.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And she is so special to me. She went through all ugly with me and protected me. Is there anything she wants me to know or needs from me? The first thing that I hear, and I'm not supposed to interpret, so I'll relay it and then see what else comes out. I hear go softer, go softer, go softer. And she's actually, for some reason, showing the really old perfume that I used as a kid that was called like Love's Baby Soft.
Oh my God.
Soft, remember that?
Yeah.
Soften the energy, soften the energy. It's like dim the lights lower, lower the volume on the TV, lower the volume on the people's voices, clear the clutter, soften, soften, soften the energy around her, the environment around her. And she means that on all levels. I hear a clean sweep of anything that is assaulting to the senses, yours or hers. She is, all animals are particularly sensitive to noise, lights, volume, smells, whatever. But she is saying, she is like surrounding you in a pink healing love of energy. That was the color of the Love's Baby Soft. And a strong message for you to take better care of yourself. I don't know if you have back pain at all, but she's showing me my own bed. I invested in a Tempur-Pedic. My back pain went away and I'm actually sleeping. I've been like an insomniac my whole life. She's saying like refresh the bedding, like new mattress, new pillows, new comforter, new blankets, like clean up the bed space so that you're getting a better night's sleep. Your energies are like intertwined like this. You take better care of yourself, and any health issues that you're feeling with her will soften, soften, soften. I'm not getting any like dire concerns from her so much as just like and it's probably all the stress and noise of the holidays too. Filter out the outside world big time. You have fibromyalgia and deal with chronic pain. There we go. Okay, not very good, but that's confirmation. Let me see what she wants to add on this too. What's this person's name?
Oh, this is
This is Megan.
Megan. Okay, all right. Hi, Megan. Fibromyalgia and deal with chronic pain. Okay, so that's why she's saying this. All right, let me see what else she hears. Sweet, sweet, sweet doggy. Wants you to laugh more. She's showing, I don't know if you've ever watched this show, but animals will, and I'll answer this in a moment, how they can recommend these things, books, movies, TV shows, whatever that they think will benefit their people or them. She's showing me the show, Impractical Jokers. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It is hilarious show. And honestly, pretty much like whatever sense of humor you have, whatever your type of humor is, this is the type of show that will make you laugh. You can look it up on YouTube, Impractical Jokers. And she says the sound of your own laughter. She is writing you a prescription, like on a prescription pad for laughter, laughter, laughter therapy. There are some online groups for laughter yoga. The healing sound of your laughter will heal your body, will heal hers. And I'm also getting pain like in your hands. I'm not sure exactly where the fibromyalgia is, but I'm getting like that. And she's wanting to give you isotoner gloves, like keep your hands nice and toasty and warm, a heating pad for you as well, but like make sure to turn it off. She's saying don't be forgetful and leave it on. Something about I don't know if you also need like an antacid if you're having any digestive problems, but you just need to calm everything down, and your own pain will start to subside. She says it's not a lost cause. You might feel like you're stuck with this forever, but she's telling you to draw a comparison between you and I, that I've been an insomniac, and I joke with doctors like anesthesiologists. I'm like, you cannot knock me out. I said, I'm like an elephant man. You can shoot me with like 50 trank darts and I'm still going to be able to run. So I am just now starting to sleep better with taking better care of myself and questioning the fact that I'm always going to be an insomniac. It's the same thing for you. You're going to experience a lot more healing the more that you just loves baby soft your own behind. I hope that helps.
Okay, so we have one more question. Like we have one more question in the chat, but then the question about the relationship. I'm going to get to that one really quick. Okay, and then I'm going to let you close out the show with the last question. Okay, so what was the name again? It's Manina. I'm sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly, but all right. So this is what I'm seeing. I see that like you feel like you met the guy of your dreams. I guess like somebody, your partner, like I don't know, I'm guy or girl. I'm not trying to say what you're dating, but you feel like you met that person, but then there's like it's not like something happened. I don't know. It's like it didn't pan out or something. Like So it looks like all great, peachy keen, everything's great, and then it's just like not good anymore. Like just like it all of a sudden went to hell in a handbasket. I have like the Tower card here, and then the Three of Swords. So like the heartbreak. I'm not sure what happened here, but it does look like there's a lot of games. Like I have Five of Swords also, which is about mind games and like playing with you, like playing games. Unfortunately, and then also the Five of Wands too, which is also unnecessary arguments, fighting, causing problems just for the sake of causing problems, that kind of thing. But then also like showing up as the King of Cups again, like as in, oh my gosh, like this person. I don't know if it's a perception issue, where you feel like this person is maybe like the perfect person, but they're not for you. They're not acting that way. Maybe they showed up that way initially, but they're not acting that way now. I don't know. It's very odd. I don't know that this person is so healthy of a choice. It seems very chaotic and seems very like hot cold. I don't know how else to say. Like it seems like, because I just at the end result here's a Tower card, and I'm so sorry to say that because I hate that. But I feel like there's false starts too. Like it's like like you think I don't know, like something's gonna happen. I would just say be very cautious about this person and make them prove themselves to you. Like if there's been a disconnect in your energies, right? If you guys talked and now there's no more talk, I don't know. Like if that's occurring, if they try to come back again, I would definitely lay ground rules about like how that's going to proceed, and not allow for your energy to be taken advantage of or to be used in any kind of way, if that makes sense. Like I just feel like this person doesn't really know what they want, and but they're damn well willing to tell you that they do in the meantime. So I don't think that this person's like the person you're going to marry, or anything like that, but a lesson definitely, right? And maybe self-love and tolerance of what you're willing to put up with and what you're not, if that makes sense. Like
I wanted to answer one question before we hand the last one to Shannon. It was just really quick. Noelle, anybody who requires you to have a reading and then a spiritual cleanse for $100.
Oh no.
Push you for something like that. We never do that. Professionals don't do that. So if anybody's in your DMs or messaging you telling you to do this, that is fraud. And always approach it as fraud.
Yeah.
We would
never do that. We never reach out. We have enough no, like we don't have time. No. Like and we would give it if that was something that we saw, which likely not. We would tell you how to do it for yourself for free.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
She's like, sorry. Okay. So she said for supplies for the cleanse. Yeah,
No.
See,
No.
It would be like for instance, Anna and myself, we do magic for, magic rituals and spells for people, but it's one by one and they come to us.
Yeah, right. I don't seek them out.
For the spell work. We never have to go to anybody to sell our wares.
No.
So that person was a scammer.
Yeah, don't ever.
Let's see. We have Chris Bishop who says, "Hi Shannon, I will."
Hey, Chris. Chris is oh my gosh, what a beautiful soul. There is a rock star story about his dog Cassie in heaven. Who my little dog Grover went paralyzed, and Chris asked a question and this story is in my book. Chris asked a question, and let's just say from my client's mouth to his dog in spirit to my paralyzed dog here, my dog stood up on all fours and began walking again. And his question was, could his dog in heaven help my dog here? And I turned my iPad around and went, is this good enough for you? And was it Mina or Menina or something?
Yeah.
As Anna was talking, I kept wanting to do this about the guy because there was one of the greatest relationships advice I ever got was doing a dog reading. And this lady, Susan, is talking about her boyfriend. Like, what does Fluffy think of Derek? And the dog goes, have we smelled this skunk before, Mom? And I bought a skunk finger puppet that I now use with clients. And I'm like, your cat, your dog, your rabbit is saying you have smelled this skunk before. It ain't going to stop stinking. Move on.
I believe I've met my twin flame after a short-term relationship. We were in no communication for the moment, and we do live in different towns. Okay. Yeah. So what I said stands. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like I didn't see that. How long ago was that? Oops. Sorry. I'm bad at this. I'm bad at keeping track of the chat sometimes. Okay, sorry. Like, yeah, no, like literally your cards say exactly what you just said, the card said. So yeah, like I would say there's better out there. like
So
that are
here's our last
Last question.
question of the night for Shannon.
Angie.
It says, I had an epileptic dog. It was awful. We put her down before she was 3 due to the severity of her grand mal seizures. No meds worked for long. What was the lesson, and where is Callie now?
Yeah. Angie, thank you for the question. I'm so sorry you went through that. And instantly your dog Callie is showing me one of my dogs who has not yet showed up in a reading for anybody. And my dog's name is Belle. She's a golden retriever. She's been in heaven for, or spirit, sorry, sometimes I say heaven, but spirit for a long time. And I'm just going to tell you the comparison and then see what I get a little more specifically on Callie. But there's a reason that she's showing me my dog Belle. Belle had one of the worst problems that I can ever be confronted with as a pet communicator, which was thunderstorm anxiety. It is really challenging to get. She was disabled by it. Vets prescribed her medications that not only didn't work, but I felt like was making her worse. My boyfriend and I drilled steel into our doors and windows because she used to jump through the windows when there was the thunderstorm anxiety. We poured cement around the backyard so she couldn't dig her way out during a storm. And keep in mind, I was home during these storms. So there was no calming her fears, and they got worse and worse and worse. I believe the reason Callie is flashing to her is because you went through something similarly traumatic with these seizures. A horrible thing to witness her suffering like that, a horrible thing emotionally, physically, painful for her, painful for you. You were a rock star mom. You are a rock star mom, did everything you could, like so much more devoted and dedicated. A lot of people would have given up sooner and said, we can't spend the expense. We can't keep going through this. What was the lesson? Let me ask Callie on this. Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry you went through this. I mean, the very first thing that I hear is just the lesson was love. The lesson was that love always finds a way to communicate that you are able to love as deeply as you showed her. You didn't wash your hands of her. You didn't write her off. You didn't try to give her away. You didn't immediately try to, end her life. You really held her paw in the most. She's showing like soldiers out on a battlefield, and it really makes me want to cry because she's showing that like you were the fellow soldier in the foxhole with her that's out on the bloody battlefield, willing to risk your own life to drag her to safety. There is nothing you weren't doing for Callie. So she says the lesson was about loyalty and love, and trust that she is returning that loyalty and love to you from spirit, and not one thing could separate her from you for the rest of your natural born life. This dog will be laying her body over yours until the moment you die, and be the first to greet you. Bam! Opening up, the gates, the doors, the portals, the clouds, the rainbows. Like Callie is a force in nature that has since gone on to hold on a second. Honestly, she feels very present in veterinary offices, and this gets into a whole other conversation for another episode about animals, like next missions in the afterlife and things that they do. But I will tell you, Angie, with your dedication, she is equally dedicated towards like guiding the hands of vets and being the one who's like planting the answers in their heads of let's try this, let's try that, let's not do this, let's adjust that. Because of what you did with her, she is present with other animals going through similar like lost causes to help ease their pain, their suffering, and greet them. But I'll tell you what, man, this idea of the two of you being on the battlefield together, this dog is very, very, very present with you. And before you go to sleep tonight, talk to her. And I will say this to everybody. If you want a sign from your pet, please don't be sad if you feel like you haven't gotten a sign. Ask for the signs, they will come. Also ask them to help you remember, because dreams are one of the number one signs that our pets are coming through to us. So you can say, Callie, please come to me and help me remember the dream. Help me recognize the sign. And then for the love of God, don't question it. I know this was you. Thank you. It was you. And you'll get more and more signs from her. I'm so sorry you went through that, but boy, Lord, is she healthy and strong and well. And she really wants me to emphasize her breathing, that she, that song, I Can See Clearly Now. She is changing the lyrics to "I can breathe clearly now. I can breathe."
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes.
Well, thank you,
Thanks,
Shannon.
Shannon.
And also, guys, if you want to book a reading with Shannon for your loved one, your animal, your familiar, or all of your animals, you can reach her at shannonspring.com. You can book her there. You can also contact her there. If you're having an issue with booking, I doubt it though. It's pretty streamlined. So again, that's shannonspring.com. And it's been wonderful to have you, Shannon. Thank you so
It
much
has.
for being on.
Thank you for having me here. And I just want to say, I didn't tell the tiger story, but it is in the book. And this tiger, if you need tough love dating advice, book a reading with me and I can actually channel this tiger for you, who will straighten out your love life. She did it for me. She made fun of a guy I was dating. The story's in the book, Open Mic for Animals, Evidential
That's
Fairy
awesome.
Tales, coming out in March, St. Petersburg Press.
Yeah,
Okay,
great Christmas present to get on a reading.
The
What's
name
that?
of your book again?
Oh, the name of the book is Open Mic for Animals, and then subtitle Evidential Fairy Tales. It's a memoir about my life as an animal communicator and many of the different funny stories, heartbreaking, heartwarming stories. Lots of great tips in there for pet parents. Chris's dog, Cassie, is in there. He gave me permission to use his and her name. It'll probably be out before March, but you'll see it on my website. And my social media is at Mayor Puppy Pants. That's the dog I showed in the earlier that I have said I'm going to marry. So, we'll be registered at chewy.com.
Yeah.
I don't need
Florida
jewelry.
woman. Florida woman. Yes.
Florida woman. Vote for me as Florida woman.
It's happening. It's happening. I can feel
It
it.
only gets weirder
Fabulous.
and weirder. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for viewing and chatting with us and bringing your questions. And
Hi,
hopefully
Ward.
we can have Shannon on again sometime to talk about animals' jobs in the afterlife and maybe have a part 2.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you, everyone,
Right.
so much for joining us for the Magic Hour.
Yeah.
And we will
Merry
see you
Yule.
in January.
Have a great
Yeah,
Yule, Christmas, whatever you celebrate.
Yes.
And Happy New Year. We'll see you on the next on the other side of 2024. Okay.
Yes, we will.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.
Bye.